In this video, an introduction to the watch, watch chains and accessories. I'm Oliver Christensen. Welcome to Shaping Silver. In the 16th century, the clock evolved from something you need a tower for, to something you need your manservants to carry around in the house for you, to something you would be able to wear around your neck. While the older watches are interesting from a historical point of view, the more modern watches from the 1850s and forward are more interesting for practical jewelry making. And not everybody have a collection of watches, so a small introduction is in order, I think. The early pocket watches had key wind, key set movements, and you would open the back, in case of many French watches the front, and wind and set the watch with a key. Keys come in a number of sizes depending on make and model. When wearing this kind of pocket watch, you will often choose a chain where you can have the key on the chain in some way, but we'll get back to that. In 1842, Patek Philippe and Company invented the stem wind, stem set movement. The first production models were sold during the Great Exhibition in London in 1851 to Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. Prince Albert was very fond of pocket watches and dictated the style for wearing them in many years, and watch chains are often called Alberts because of him. The stem set mechanism didn't completely take over. A few others exist, like the pin set mechanism and the lever set mechanism. The lever set mechanism was favored among rail people, where an accidental misset watch could lead to an accident. Pocket watches come in two ordinary variants, the open-faced and the Hunter, which has a lid to protect the crystal, basically the sports watch of the time. Then there's the Demi-Hunter, which has a small window and a dial on the cover, so you can read the time without opening it. Chronometers were originally developed for ship navigation, but as their size decreased, they found their way into sports, and the British were for a long time driving their development, and the reason? To time dog races, of course. If you don't have a Hunter pocket watch, but want to bring it outside for work or sports, you can get a protective cover for it. In Danish it's called a bjergmandskasse, or a mountain man case, which is quite funny since we don't have any mountains. Anyway, the word is a translation of the German word Bergmannskapsel, and the Germans do have mountains to climb and mine. The first wrist watches for men were made around the start of the 20th century. They were made for aviators who needed their hands free for steering their planes, but became popular among the soldiers fighting in the trenches during World War I, where a watch on a chain was not practical. Many pocket watches were converted like this one, where fittings for a strap were soldered on the case and the bow was removed. And for the same reason, these are often referred to as trench watches. After that transition, all sort of straps and locks were developed for the watch. While the watch itself has taken a few evolutionary steps in the last 100 years, it looks pretty much the same from a goldsmith's perspective. The single Albert chain is usually about 20 centimeters long, with a clasp for a pocket watch in one end and a catch for a buttonhole in the other. That can either be a T-bar, a spring ring, a hook, or something you design yourself. The design of the chain depends on what the current fashion dictates, but a simple anchor or curved chain never seems to go out of style. If you make your own chain, why not make your own findings to match that style? Or make it match the style of the pocket watch. A spring ring is usually mounted with the mechanics toward you, giving the impression of one unbroken ring. The T-bar is usually mounted from the front, so it's hidden by the waistcoat. But if you have designed it to match the chain, you can mount it from the back so you can see the design. The double Albert is about 40 centimeters long, or 2 times 20 with a T-bar or catch in the middle. In one hand you secure the watch, and in the other, it could be a key, but all sort of things that you'd need could be kept on the chain. Pens, stamp or coin cases, cigar cutters, matchbook holders, and much more. I will make a video about all these good things, and some build videos. The straight double chain is usually worn directly through a buttonhole, or you can wear it wrapped around like Churchill did. Or slightly more risky, just leave it hanging between the two pockets. The double albert is worn much the same as a single albert, except you have two chains, one for each pocket. Or you can just act like you don't care if your knick-knack scratches your watch and put them both in the same pocket. You don't have to use a T-bar for securing the chain. Other things like medallions can be used. But if you want to add something extra, you can add a short chain to the catch to hang things from. And what to hang there? Well, a signet fob or key for the watch is practical. Or perhaps a spinner fob. No, the fidget spinner is not a new invention. A small shield with your initials on it, so people will know it's your chain if you forgot it somewhere. Or perhaps some memorabilia, like the gold sovereign Sherlock Holmes got from Irene Adler in A Scandal in Bohemia and put on his watch chain. There are a few other ways to carry a pocket watch than in a waistcoat. In your pants, for example. What did you think the small pocket in jeans were for? The chain I have here is with a belt loop and a sister hooks mechanism for locking the bow of the watch to the chain. A chain often seen in Germany has a lapel button as a fastener, so the watch can be worn in the breast pocket of a jacket. And then there's the fob chain, which is basically a short chain with a fob on it that you can use to pull your watch out of the pocket. Pocket watches were often worn with uniforms until the wristwatch became the norm after World War I. The chain was fixed with a spring ring or a T-bar, and the watch was placed in the right-hand breast pocket. Army and police officers often carried a whistle and would use it as an anchor in the opposite pocket. The whistle shown here is the Acme Thunderer, which was often carried by British rail train conductors in much the same way, or from a double albert chain affixed to their waistcoat. And the reason for keeping the whistle on the left hand side? Well, your right hand is usually occupied by something else. This is the end of the introduction, but in the following build videos I'm going to talk about all the mechanical stuff for the chains and the fobs and all the other stuff that you put at the end of the chains. So please subscribe.